Dear Paul Scholey, partner at Morrish Solicitors LLP and member of the 2019 International Peace Delegation to Imrali, also supporter of the Freedom for Öcalan campaign. Thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. So let's start with the situation of Öcalan, Kurdish leader, Mr. Abdullah Öcalan, the imprisoned leader of the Kurds these days, very well known by the European communities as well with the Freedom for Öcalan campaign. It continues to be kept in conditions of harsh isolation in violation of international rights convention. What are your thoughts on this ongoing situation and what needs to be done to stop Turkey's isolation implement to Mr. Abdullah Öcalan?
So Mr. Öcalan's now been in isolation for 22 years. And when our delegation to Imrali Island happened in February, March 2019, he had for years had no access at all to lawyers or even friends or family members. And there was after that time a short period when some access was made available, but my understanding is that for many months now, once again, he's had no access to lawyers, friends or family. That's not only in breach of international law, but it's in breach of Turkey's own law. Turkey's got perfectly good laws, if only it would follow them in relation to Mr. Öcalan. And it seems to me until his isolation, his imprisonment is dealt with, until he's treated fairly and reasonably, then unlocking the Kurdish problem will remain a difficult problem. He and his freedom, I think, are the keys to unlocking that problem for the future.
During the peace negotiations between the Kurdish movement and Turkish state, talks were held together with Mr. Öcalan on Imrali Island, as you remember. What do you think is the importance of Öcalan for a peaceful resolution of the Kurdish question?
So we have over 30 million Kurds split across, 4 nation states, but without any independent recognition as an independent, sovereign and autonomous Kurdistan. And in the absence of that sort of recognition, then the Kurds need to look to a leader. And the de facto leader of the Kurds is Mr. Öcalan. So whilst he represents them and their interests as they are fragmented across countries such as Turkey and Syria and Iraq and so on, without freedom for him, without him being able to participate on behalf of the whole Kurdish state, if you will, then I don't see how peace negotiations can properly progress.
Thank you. Since Öcalan's imprisonment, there has been a global campaign, which is you are a part of it as well, for Freedom for Öcalan. What do you think about Freedom for Öcalan campaign and the time has come campaigns and its importance for achieving peace in the region?
I think it's an essential part of any peace process. Mr. Öcalan's been described by people cleverer than me as the Mandela of the Middle East, and it seems to me that there's a great deal in common between those two leaders. The Freedom for Öcalan campaign has tried in all manner of ways to bring this issue to wider European and international attention. It remains, in my view, one of the great unreported injustices anywhere in the world. We hear commonly about the plight of the Palestinian people, and I don't want to compare one issue with another, but it's plain talking to many people and getting involved as I have with the Freedom for Öcalan campaign that the reporting of Mr. Öcalan's imprisonment and this dreadful treatment he's had over 22 years and the Turkish government's continued unwillingness to engage with him and the Kurds in a sensible way, these matters are not reported as they ought to be across international media. So the Freedom for Ocalan campaign, in my view, is an absolutely essential tool in bringing this to wider public attention. And I'm sure when people know more about it, they'll be just as engaged in it as they have been historically with the other great injustices that I've made reference to.
Why does the UK still list the PKK as a terrorist organization, even given a decision such as the ruling from the Brussels High Court that the PKK is not a terrorist organization?
Well, history is always written by the victors or those who are presently in power. Nelson Mandela, I've already made reference to, was a terrorist until he wasn't anymore. My own postings on Facebook in relation to the Kurdish issue have been censored and taken down by Facebook because of the way in which PKK and so on are prescribed as a so-called terror group internationally. There'll come a time, I'm sure, when the description will change. But at present, I don't defend what either my country or other countries do to ascribe these terrorist notions to a man who's trying to achieve peace for an enormous nation state that's unrepresented.
Dear Paul Scholey, partner at Morrish Solicitors LLP and member of the 2019 International Peace Delegation to Imrali and supporter of the Freedom for Öcalan campaign. Thanks for joining us and thank you for your valuable comments today.